welcome. Today we're joined by founder and CEO Patrick Dodds of Hexigone. And this is part of our continuing series speaking with small to mid-sized businesses about their tips and suggestions in working with large corporates. And Patrick, it'd be great if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Hexigone.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for the opportunity. And Hexigone has created a smart release pigment going coatings to replace ultimately hexavalent chromate in the first place, but then other technologies that are old and outdated. And we create these additives that they sit in the coating and they can sense when there's a corrosion attack and they prevent any further damage. So increasing the longevity of your assets.
You know, that's quite interesting. So would you say that has a sustainability benefit? What's the role of Hexigone in sort of as you talk with your employees and your customers? To what extent sustainability is a value proposition of Hexigone?
So here at Hexigone, sustainability is really at the heart. First one is removing toxic traditional chemicals from supply chains. That was our first opportunity, but now we take a circular economy approach as well to making our products. We have no waste streams coming out of our manufacturing plant. We're actually powered by renewables as well. So we really take sustainability as a key, but what we do as well is we can take a material that's destined for landfill or incineration, and we can work with that and create our product from that. Therefore, we're preventing it from going into the waste stream. And then we create sustainable coatings by creating a stronger and more intelligent coating system that protects your assets for longer. So between your maintenance cycles, you have to paint them less often. Means there's less drain on the world's resources as well. Mm-hmm. As well as CO2 and other emissions related to the maintenance program.
Well, it's interesting because you're working in an area, kind of established industry of coatings, and where do you see your greatest opportunities for growth, and to what extent is collaborating with large corporates a component of that growth?
So our growth is down to the either removal of hexavalent chromate. We have a legislative drive behind us. But also the industry is looking to be more sustainable. And they're looking for higher quality coatings as well. So coatings that last longer. We can help with that product fit for the customer. It helps our customers, who are the coatings manufacturers, to differentiate their products from other market products out there by giving that step change in performance. And the coatings industry really is dominated by large corporates. The coatings industry is all about acquisitions. You've got multi-billion-dollar companies who are global, and there's very few smaller companies. So we don't have another option really but to work with large corporates as well. But you see from the large corporates, within them there's subsets of very innovative groups looking for innovations. So coatings is an established and very conservative industry. But by demonstrating the performance and the current market trend as well, we are seeing adoption of our products, and this is on a global basis.
So, I mean, if large corporates represent an important channel and a collaboration partner for you, what is the process that you tend to find yourself in as you're getting to know these large corporates? Is it a technical evaluation? Is it a market evaluation? Are there particular applications that you focus on first? What process do you see here?
So when we started, we didn't quite realize what the opportunity was. And then working with large corporates, you suddenly realize that there is a market demand for your product, and it's with a large corporate as well. It's not a small demand. For our product, it's a technical validation. So we work with the business units. They can see the value proposition for the business on the marketing front or the commercial. But also we need to prove that our technology works. You can't just make up it works, it has to work. So they have to go through technical validation through the R&D teams. Now this is where then you suddenly start getting into some complexities with a large corporate. There's a lot of different departments within large corporates. not necessarily all talking to each other. So you need to make sure your message is consistent through the different departments that you're working with. And it's not going to be a fast process, and you've got to understand that. But the end reward is going to be significant. So it's a slow and steady approach.
What do you think has enabled Hexagon to be successful in collaborating with large corporates? Is it, the basis of your technology? Is it that you have like understood the process there? Is it the market need? What do you see as the tips that have enabled you to be successful in this area?
I think you've hit on a couple of points for us. First of all, we've got 30 years worth of university research behind us. So all of our claims about our products are fully scientifically backed from the beginning. So we know that we can stand by the technical validity of it. But then there's also this huge market drive for our product as well. There's not been a significant innovation in this area for some time. There's been quite a lot of academic work, but we've taken it from academic through to commercial, and we've always made sure on price that we're commercially viable as well. So you can come up with some great ideas, but unless it's commercially viable, you're not going to get the large corporates interested, because they're ultimately looking at how much does it cost. Regardless, we've got a performance increase. We're trying to keep the cost increase down, and that's our product offering. So you don't have to pay more, but you can get a lot more performance with our products. So there's definitely a balance there between your market offerings. With ours, it's definitely more technical in the validation. But you've got to have all the other elements in there as well. You can't just be technically great, but actually cost a lot of money, because it's not viable for them to sell on to their customers.
I mean, during this, over the last year, there's been challenge in terms of meeting with people in person, for example. But normally, I think in a large corporation, it's sometimes hard to know who are all the stakeholders that may have interest in your product or your technology. Do you have any thoughts around engaging stakeholders in large organizations? Does it just come back to the technical evaluation, or how do you work with market teams?
I think from our experience, you need to have multiple interaction points within the company. So if you're talking to the R&D guys, you need to make sure you've got a contact in marketing or the purchasing team, because at every step you go through, you're going to be passed on to a different person. So it makes it a lot smoother process if you're already talking to that person, just by introduction or previous emails, but it's not just something that's new put on their desk. So yeah, there's a lot of innovation scouts out there, and I think that we've been fortunate enough to work with GrowLogic, and then that's brought the innovation teams in from large corporates to meet with the startups, whereas we may not necessarily have met with them before. So it's finding that right internal champion as well. You need to find someone who can drive the project through the company. It's easy for you to kind of get lost in the large corporates. So you've always got to make sure you're speaking to the right people. And I think, we would use something called mean chats, but it just covers the basis of everything. So it goes from your commercial, technical, R&D. You get all the information of who the right people are to talk to by the process.
That's interesting. I think this process of engaging people and identifying a champion is really important, especially if there's a longer term technical evaluation and multiple teams. It's sort of good to have a central point of contact that can help coordinate that process a bit. Maybe you can share with us a little bit on a personal side. I mean, as you're engaging with large corporates, I mean, it's got to be a great opportunity for you as a business. Personally, you're interacting probably with some pretty experienced and certainly well-educated people. What does it feel like as you're going through the process of introducing yourself, and as you start to realize there's some traction here? What does that feel like to you and your teams?
Yeah, it brings validation to the team. I think if you look back on it and look at where you've come from to where you are now, and the quality of the leads and the people you're talking to, when you're in the moment, you don't really notice it. You're just going through the process of speaking to someone else to talk about the innovation, their interest in your innovation. And you know, if you took a wider view of it, actually, it's amazing experience for what you're doing. And in a normal, I guess, role and getting to this point, then you would be a long way into your career before you start having these conversations with people. So as a startup, the exposure you get is significant, but whilst you're doing it, you don't really realize. I think you have to take a step back sometimes and just look at how things are going and who you're talking to and what the processes are as they go along. But add relation to the team as well. It's really important for us, especially that the team at all levels are aware of what's going on, that they're not just doing their jobs in the background in the company, that they realize the bigger picture and who we're talking to and what validations we're getting.
I mean, as you look to your interactions with large corporates, what do you hope to accomplish?
I mean, ultimately, it's about collaboration. It's collaborating, having a commercial product. You know, we're a startup company, and you know, we've got to make money, or else we're not going to survive. But the opportunity with the large corporates are significant, and not just on, you know, selling to them as a customer, becoming a partnership with them. And the conversations we have with these guys, with the large corporates, aren't just because, are you going to buy the product off us? It's how can we work together to bring this product to market, or how can we use our expertise to help you manufacture the product at scale? So there's a wide range of interactions with these teams. It's not purely based on and it's not a quick win either. You know, you're not going to be in one meeting, made a sale and gone again. You build up a very long relationship in the sales process with these teams and working in collaboration. So it's something for us is working together. It's taking, for me personally, it's taking that idea, that eureka moment in the lab and turning it into a success. Now, whether that comes with monetary gains, you know, the main focus is getting the company successful, and working with the large corporates gives you great exposure. And if there's a symbiotic relationship where we can help them, give them better products, but in also the other way, they can help us scale our technology. That's also great from the partnerships.
Well, it sounds like you're a big fan of, you know, making sure the partnerships are win-win. And it sounds also that you've been able to establish those types of relationships that are win-win, that are good for your clients and your collaborators and are good for you. So congratulations to the success, and thank you so much for sharing your tips today around working with large corporates.
No problem. Thanks for the opportunity.